Hi, everybody. This is Paul Hitchcock, founder and president of Giant Jaxx Media. This is Giant TV. Really excited for my two guests today and the subject we're talking about, which is AI. I have Mary Forte, who's a very successful Vistage chair. Welcome, Mary.
Hello, how are you?
Great to have you here. And Eric Langley, who is our resident AI expert. And thanks for being here, Eric. Yeah. And we're going to jump into this. Great topic. We know it's hot. Mary and I, you were just talking because MIT just released a big report on AI and interviewing CIOs across the country. Fascinating. But let's talk about what's going on with you and Vistage. What are you building over there?
Well, AI is certainly a hot topic, I would say. I've brought in at least three different speakers this year alone to talk to my members about AI. And, a lot of them have taken it up and feel
Right.
good about testing it, figuring it out, so on and so forth. And others are afraid of it. What
Right.
do I do? How do I do it? So I'm really looking to kind of, get a baseline where everybody could at least be the same. And then we could grow them, as time goes on as to AI within their business. I mean, there's not a doubt in my mind that AI, number one, is here to stay. And number two, that it can play an integral part in everyone's business to whatever degree. And we have to figure that out. Hence the reason why Eric and I have been talking about an AI strategy per business, because every business is going to be somewhat different. And I can appreciate that. And obviously so could my members.
Yeah.
So
And
they're very excited about it.
yeah, they're dialed in. And Mary, tell us about your group there. You're building this CEO group, and what industries are you working with, and what's the main focus there?
Yeah, well, the industries that I'm working with are really kind of all over the board. I have somebody in the banking business, someone in the audio video business, a few engineers that are all different businesses. One's aerospace, one's water, believe it or not, a 134-year-old business.
Hmm.
Another one is electronics, electronic equipment, someone else in the food service business.
Wow.
I mean, it really runs the gamut. There really isn't anyone in there that is similar. They might be
Yeah.
do some marketing, of course. You always have somebody in marketing.
Yeah.
So, and hence the reason why an AI strategy has to be specific to each individual's industry.
Yeah, and you're meeting monthly with all of those members, and I know those meetings are highly collaborative, and you're facilitating those, and then you're also meeting one-on-one with those members.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yes, in fact, I met with one today, a member this morning, and we talked about AI. And
Oh,
he's a little
interesting.
bit more advanced than some of my other members. So, but they're all interested in it. They're all curious about it. And they all want to know, what are the efficiencies? How can they, make it part of their business? And also, how do they train their people to understand AI?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like critical. I think it's one of the most critical things that we have. Either you learn it, you incorporate it, or you die. I mean, basically, it's one extreme or the other.
Yeah, well said. And before we move over to Eric's want to hear about AI is Mary, who are you still looking for to add to the groups? I know you got a special thing there. It's important not to upset the apple cart, but who do you want to come in there?
Yeah, well, I look for high performing, high level of integrity, work ethic, people who are open to learn still, who are open to listen, who like a group environment, who feel comfortable being in a safe environment, but not any environment that's competitive, because everyone in there is not competitive. I would love to get someone in there who's maybe in the employment business, maybe somebody who is in the education. I mean, there's so many different industries that I have one person in retail, but there's, retail is a huge open market. So I would like somebody else in retail. So again, I'm open
Yep.
to, if people want to join and people feel that they can get something from it and they can also contribute, because it's a give and it's a take, then I'm open.
Yeah, no, great. And I want to tell everybody that that Mary's contact information is around this video, wherever you're watching it. Same with Eric. Get connected with them. And Eric, let's excuse me, jump in with you. Here we go. AI. Tell us what we need to know, Eric. Enlighten us.
Well, along the lines of what Mary said, I mean, she talked about every industry being affected, and she's working with every industry. So that's a pretty compelling statement that really it's going to affect us all. And the studies are out that have talked about that. McKinsey has it, Goldman Sachs has it. You mentioned the MIT study. I mean, at this point, it's almost like if you don't have an AI strategy already, you're kind of late. Like it's been going on for a while now, so you got to get off the board and into the game, so to speak. So, but there's a lot of opportunity for all those industries, from marketing and sales to operations. I like to term it basically people, products, and processes. All of those can be improved, especially people when you think about AI augmentation.
Yep. Yeah, and and Eric, what are you doing when you're going in? You're working with businesses across the country. What is that initial interaction look like, just to get someone going? What do you do?
Yeah, I mean, because I have a strategic focus, which is the big picture, we want to go in and find out like where they are. So we're right here, whether it's with AI or what is the setup of your business? And typically business owners that are high performance, like Mary said, they're going to be focused on, we want to get somewhere. So now you have that gap. All right. So we're here, we want to get here. So we focus on that. Sometimes in the beginning, or often in the beginning, you're doing maybe some low hanging fruit, easy projects that get an impact. And then as time goes on, you work on the more impactful long-term projects. So it doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen.
Yeah, you said that. I noticed when you mentioned that previously, that was important, where identify one thing at the business that you would want to automate. And as you get involved in that, you really start to, your eyes get open on what it can do. And you start thinking about other processes at the business. Is that a fair way to couch that?
I call it a kid in a candy store, right? Every
Yeah.
time I go in, I'm like, oh, we could do this, we could do this, we could do this. But we do come up with a format to determine you want to prioritize, right? You don't want to
Yep.
just throw resources up on the wall and see what sticks. You want to prioritize, do what you believe you're going to get the biggest impact for. Big fan of Pareto principle, right? 20% of your effort is 80% of your results. So, that's how I work as a fractional innovation officer, because I'm only in there part-time. So I want to make sure we're getting the big bang for the buck. It's very dense. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and Mary, did Mary, as we get back to Eric here in a sec, what have you seen your companies, like where have they delved into AI at all? Any indication of that?
Mostly GPT chat, I would say, and playing with that, doing some verbiage, seeing how that would work, or something that they may have to do where they need paragraphs of things and
Right.
so on. I would say that's where I've seen them kind of delve in the most with.
Yeah.
But it's so much more than just that.
Sure.
But at least that's getting their feet wet.
Yeah, and Eric, you have probably a comment about that. Everyone's ChatGPT. Yeah.
Mary, I certainly recommend that every CEO at least start using it a little bit, and maybe use some tools that overlay on top of ChatGPT. One of my favorites is Grammarly. It just does a great job of rewriting what I'm writing as I write it. So I don't have to spend a lot of time making it sound proper, or I can just highlight a paragraph and say, improve it. And it generally does, which is great. So I have the idea that I want to get out, and then the AI just makes it sound perfect, basically. So once in a while you have to make it sound like you made a mistake, because it's so good, right? But and we always start there.
Okay, interesting. Because something came up today in a discussion I was having with someone, and it kind of was related to, Eric, what you mentioned last time about construction, how construction industry can use it. But this was with nonprofits, and they're saying, God, nonprofits are all focused on grant writing, development. They're all looking for money. And she was asking, I wonder how AI could impact like grant writing, for example. And we both were like, God, it's got to get involved there. And then I started thinking about your construction example, automating proposals and so forth. Any comment on that?
Yeah, for nonprofits, I mean, if you're fundraising, how important is it to have a personal relationship with your donors? And what does that look like? And with AI, you get that hyper personalization capability, and your writing is going to be geared towards, their value system. That's the whole thing. The reason people donate money is because they believe in the values that, your your
Yep.
purpose is in your business. And that's a powerful tool. Staying in touch, making sure they stay up, they get like maybe a private letter or email once in a while. Hey, this is what's going on just for you, just for the for our sponsors. I mean, that's powerful.
Yeah, because I've looked into AI for my own businesses and just, reading is that the ability to connect disparate applications within the company to talk to each other and get things done, like you were talking about, people respond to an email and it generates, whatever this over to them. And it seems like the low-hanging fruit is always sales and marketing development for AI. And talk about, my experience of starting a business and getting the messaging out. People come to a site, click on a link, it generates a proposal. There's a chat bot on the site, and those have come a long way from the old chat bots, right? Where you can feed it information. And so we've been able to take out at least 2 people from the equation that would be bogged down, not replacing their jobs, because that they get to focus on stuff they really like doing now, as opposed to answering these emails all day long. So just as an example, I mean, it's incredible what can go on there.
Yeah, you take a look at that from the donor standpoint. I mean, they're engaged, they've got a relationship with the brand is what ends up happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a question for Eric.
Yeah, please.
Eric, do you think that all these changes that continually happen, which drive me crazy, with AI evolving so fast, that it's constantly changing, do you feel that that's just indicative of where we are and that will slow down as we move forward? Or is this something that we're always going to have to deal with? See you laughing.
So we're in the graph looks like this. Okay.
Yeah.
The exponential change graph. And the way it works is it moves like this. It doesn't flatten out. It just keeps going that way. And you were here, but you're here now, but here was over here before. So the change is rapid. And I completely get it for CEOs that have 8 million things to do. And they've got this overwhelming feeling that is generated from all this change. And how do you even know where to start? And that is really my job, right? Is to solve that problem of overwhelm and where do we start? How do we get a handle on this? Make this a manageable, meaningful thing rather than chaos, which is kind of what it is right now. It's a little bit of chaos. So want to bring some order to that. And I spend a lot of time researching that. So.
Do you? Because it does make me crazy. I feel like we're going to learn one thing, and then before you know it, that's going to be obsolete, like within a week. And then there's going to be something else.
Maybe not a week, but there's always new tools, and you just have to plan ahead as much as you possibly can. Obviously, you can't account for everything, but I want to plan, a couple of years out. How are we going to deal with this? Change management is really what we're talking about.
No doubt.
And managing change for people is the big thing, right? Products and processes, you can deal with that, but it's for people, for stakeholders. Because customers have the change. Customers have the change too. They have to deal with a new model of doing business. So we're all dealing with it, and you deal with it as best you can, and you learn as much as you can.
And Eric, when you go into a company, are you meeting with management and leadership of the company? Like, how do you rally the troops around this?
Yeah, I mean, it certainly starts at the top. I mean, I always want to be, working with the CEO and the leadership team. When I go in, I become embedded with those folks and getting the job done. If you don't have an executive champion or a sponsor that with the backing of the CEO, it's really, really difficult to, make those changes. But in the types of companies that I'm working with, which are mid-sized companies, those people are right in it, with everybody else. They're not a CEO up in a tower. So, they're involved. And if they understand the change, a lot of my time is spent, what is your response going to be? That's a lot of my time in the beginning is focused on getting to that point of making that decision of what my response is, and then getting into the rest of it, prioritization and all that. But until you get your response down, the rest of it doesn't matter.
Well, are you being brought in because they've identified an area or a project that they need input on, or are you coming in with help us to identify how these new strategies and innovation can help?
Yeah, if you look at Mary's practice, she's got everybody under the sun in there, right? So I can go in and find problems. It's easy to do that, and inefficiencies in a business. But I really want to find is opportunities for growth. So I ask two questions typically. What is your biggest constraint to growth? And what is your biggest opportunity for growth? Yeah, we can create some marginal gains in productivity, but if we can grow the business and build the business up, we're going to be way further ahead. That's exponentially further ahead than your competitors are going to be. And that's what you want. You want that competitive advantage.
Absolutely. Yes, yeah. It's a differentiator. It's something that if you can tackle this and you can, get your arms around it and have your people have their arms around it, to me, I think it's a competitive advantage and can differentiate you from your competition, because not everybody's going to, they're going to be afraid of it.
Exactly. And if I ask, one of the things I ask in the beginning is, where is the business in 2 years? And, it's like, where is it in AI? What have your AI competitors have done with AI? What is your work like? And you have to get out of that, that in the weeds type of thing and come up to the strategic level at least once a week, right?
Right. Well, we hope so.
Yeah. Maybe at least twice a year, really take a deep dive in, kind of like your annual, and then, a 6 month.
Yeah. Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah, well, I've noticed over the last really 30, 60 days, every major application platform I use, from the one we're on here, Zoom, to Trello and many others, have all sent me emails about, look at our new automation features. They're building it in. We've rolled it out for the dashboard, Mary, that you're on, AI built in there, ChatGPT thing. So, I mean, it's insane what's going on. It's everywhere, and it's a challenge to keep up.
Exactly.
Myself. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So having it organized is huge. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, we could talk about this forever. I know we could. And I want to say, thanks both of you for being here. Thanks everybody for listening. Remember to get connected with them wherever you're watching this. And we'll keep updated with both of you. Thanks.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Eric.